Welcome to the Bitchy Hour. Audacity required, people pleasing not permitted. Now breathe deep and press play on your power. Let's get into this. Hello, friends. Welcome back to another episode of the Bitchy Hour with your host, Sidni. Oh my God. Okay. So I have really been thinking a lot about just so much that has been going on in my life, because it feels like every time I think I have something figured out, something obviously gets in my way, or not maybe gets in my way, but makes itself known in my life, that makes me reflect on the fact that I genuinely just have to trust, okay? You have to trust in your life. I have to trust in my life. We all have to just trust that everything is working out for us, even if we don't necessarily understand the how. And I think if you're like me and you want to know what's going to happen next, it can be so incredibly easy to get caught up in feeling like because you don't know what's happening next, that it must be something bad. But what if it could be something that is so incredible that you literally don't even have the imagination to fathom at this moment? And that's exactly how I feel right now. So the reason why I wanted to do this episode today about trusting the plan and releasing the grip is because that's exactly what I'm going through in my life right now, okay, like to a T. And I'm just noticing how at a previous point in my life, the things that I'm going through right now would literally get me off my rocker, okay, in the worst way possible. It would not be good, because I would be a mess and a ball of anxiety, a mess and a ball of fear. And it's not fun to be like that, but I think I finally gotten to this point in my journey where I realize that just because something is going on external to me does not mean literally anything. Like, it doesn't mean anything. It only means what you apply to it. So if you're experiencing, oh my gosh, right now I don't have a consistent source of income, and you like literally equate that to you'll never have a consistent source of income, you'll never be able to accomplish anything that you desire in your life, then that's what you're going to get from it. Versus if you see, okay, I don't have a consistent form of income, I'm not working a job where I'm showing up every day, then maybe that means you're supposed to create your own business. Maybe that means that some unforeseen good is going to come your way that is going to wipe out all of your bills. Like, it is possible. That happens to people every day, okay? Amazing things just randomly happen to them. Why can't that be you? And that's what I've been saying to myself. Why can't it be me? Okay. And I was actually going through my TikTok, and I've been posting on TikTok for like 2.5 years now, pretty consistently. I mean, it's not as consistent as it is now. Like, I really lock in every single day as if it's a full-time job. Okay. I am posting at least 5 videos a day, and I'm not even thinking about it like, oh, I have to post 5 videos. It's very much a it flows for me type of thing. And again, this is part of me trusting the plan and releasing the grip, because I think for so long in my life, I really cared about how I was being perceived. I really cared about what things appeared like. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, what are people going to think if I post this and I do this? Like, what's going to happen? And I think you get to a point in your own self-worth, self-love journey where you recognize that literally what anybody has to say about you is none of your business. Like, literally, if people are talking about you, you're that girl, babe. Okay. Like, if people are mad about you, if they're happy about you, if they're just saying your name in general, trying to catch up with you, like, dude, you're the main character. Okay, you're the main character, and that's something that you need to recognize within yourself. If people are talking, you have the attention on you. And that's why a lot of these celebrities they'll talk about how, any sort of chat about them is good, because the energy is ultimately going into you, which means you can get money from that situation, all right? And it's just an interesting place to be in my life because in all honesty, I don't really know what's next. Like I literally wish I did, but I also kind of don't care. Like I used to care way more about what was happening next than I would say I do right now. And I think it's just because in each moment I feel so at peace. And if I feel at peace right now when I don't know what the hell is going on, I don't know, literally, I have zero clue as to what's going on in my life whatsoever, then I think that means I can handle anything. Like I can handle any sort of uncertainty and know and trust that I will maintain a state of being that is working for me as opposed to against me. And I think everybody should get to that point when it comes to themselves. You shouldn't need your external reality to be quote unquote good in order for you to feel good. You should be able to feel good regardless of what's going on in your life. And when I think about previous points in my life, I think I was so wholly dependent upon things transpiring in a specific way that I really lost touch with the present moment. And I think losing touch with the present moment is honestly the biggest mistake that you can make because our lives are a series of successive now moments, okay? And I did read the book, The Power of Now, at one point by Eckhart Tolle, and I fucking hated that book. I'm not gonna lie to you. I thought it was so boring. I don't even think I read the whole thing. And it's so funny because I heard someone talk about this book and they were saying that that book could have been like 10 pages long and made the same point. Instead, it was like 150 pages long of nothingness. Okay? Like, they were like, this guy was on like one long acid trip writing this book. Anyway, I mean, get your coins, Eckhart Tolle, whatever the fuck. But I think it's true, right? Literally, all you have is right now. So why not make the best of right now? Why are you trying to project what things are going to be like in the future as if that's going to give you some peace? It's not. If you don't have peace right now, I really don't know what you expect, okay? It's just the truth. And like, now I can watch some of these tarot card readings and dude, I just kind of laugh in a sense because I'm like, whatever, like I don't even really care. I think at this point, I just kind of enjoy watching them. It's like TV to me. I just think they're kind of funny because when you think about it, these tarot card readings are like little stories that you're tuning into. Whether or not that story is yours is up to you, babe. But I do think some of them are very interesting and they're kind of cool. It's almost like my fan fiction. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but that's what it feels like to me. So, yeah. But when it comes to relinquishing control and leaving things to the timing of the universe, I'm recognizing that you really do have to get to a point where you can sit in the midst of a storm and you're unaffected by it. And what I am seeing in my mind's eye right now is Storm, the character from X-Men, who is literally creating a storm, and she's just calm as a cucumber, and everything's in havoc around her. And I feel like that's how you have to be, okay? Because I think in a lot of ways, everything comes from our state of being, our state of consciousness. And if you believe that something is the biggest problem in the world, I don't know how it's ever going to solve itself. Like, I should be freaking out. Everybody should be freaking out. Like, that's only going to create that type of situation for you. Versus if you look at it and you're like, wow, this is like cute that this thing came into my reality to try and get me to believe that I'm not powerful and that this can't change in an instant. Like, those are two completely different energies, where the former is going to manifest in a situation that that person really doesn't want, but has been subconsciously agreeing to it through their fears and anxieties. Whereas the latter person is going to manifest an amazing situation because she's not even acknowledging that reality as really true. She's seeing it as something that's like, oh, it's cute. Like, you tried it. You tried to get me to not believe in my power. You tried to make me believe that this is something I should be quote unquote quote afraid of, but I'm not. Why? Because I am the creator of my reality. You are the creator of your reality. And when you're changing your state of consciousness, when you are up leveling, when you are seeing that there's more for you in your life than what you have been agreeing to for all this time, it is going to be a little bit strange when you level up and your ego, which has formed an identity around whatever you've been being for so long, it wants you to stay there, okay? It literally will try and trick you out of your spot by getting you to believe that all these limitations were so real. Oh my gosh, there are these mountains, when in all reality, they're literally little molehills on the ground, but they're only those little molehills on the ground when your state of being far exceeds whatever the situation is that is being presented in front of you, okay? And I just remember when I was in San Francisco one year, it was in 2018, and I go out there with 2 suitcases, okay? I had a big suitcase, which I checked, and then I had a carry-on suitcase, which was obviously carry-on, and then I had a backpack. And I just had made this decision in my mind that like I was going out to San Francisco to live. I was going to be a startup founder. Like it was just going to work. I didn't tell anybody I was leaving. I just fucking got up and left. I didn't know where I was going to be staying that night, but I knew I was going to be staying somewhere that night, okay? I get to San Francisco. I don't even have enough money to take the fucking BART, which is the Bay Area Regional Transit, or like kind of like their subway, from the airport to downtown SF, where, by the way, I don't even know where I'm staying, right? I have these 2 suitcases. If you know anything about San Francisco, there's a large homeless population there, okay? It's a very expensive city. So I'm like, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know why I was led here, but I just knew that I was. And I had this feeling when I landed on the plane. I was like, oh my gosh, like this is exactly where I'm meant to be. I don't know where this journey is going to take me while I'm here, but this just feels right, okay? So I'm trusting faith. Listen, my parents didn't even know I was in San Francisco. They had dropped my sister off at college like earlier in the day, and I kind of just pieced out afterwards. So I get there. I somehow get to the train, and the person that I was sitting on the plane with, and I had told her, yeah, like I'm just going off of vibes. I don't know what's going on. They were like, she was like inspired by my story. She's like, oh my gosh, that's crazy. Invited me to go to a wedding with her. Didn't end up going, but I see her as I'm getting onto the BART, or I was trying to because I literally didn't have any money. And she's like, oh yeah, like I'll spot you. And I was like, I'll just Venmo you tomorrow, like when I can or whatever. So she's like, yeah, no problem. All good, right? So I then make it to downtown SF. I still have my 2 bags, my backpack. Like, dude, I'm rolling deep with all this stuff, all right? And I had this divine intervention, this eureka moment that I really wanted to get Sweetgreen. So I know there's a Sweetgreen in downtown in SF, like over by the financial district. So I'm like, okay, like I'm going to go there. And that was actually the main reason why I even got on the BART and went down over there. So I get my Sweetgreen. I know for a fact, like, oh my gosh, that my card declined because I didn't have money. I had moved money from one account to the next, but it wasn't going to be available for like another day or 2, which is why I told that lady who paid for my train ticket, like, yo, I'll just Venmo you back when I have the opportunity to do so. So the person who I guess was the cashier at Sweetgreen, like they saw me with the 2 suitcases. I figure I was like the only person in there. They were probably like, you know what, whatever. Like, I'm just going to let this person go. I still have no place to go at this time, okay? It's getting dark, and I'm like, fuck, like, what am I going to do? But I don't freak out yet because I'm like, you know what? I didn't come here for no reason. I wasn't meant to just come out here to be fucking homeless. Like, that shit is crazy. That's not what's supposed to happen here, right? So I get this other inspiration that I'm going to go to the Embarcadero. So I go to the Embarcadero, And I'm sitting there and it's still getting dark. I have these bags and I just don't know what the hell's going on. I don't know why I'm there. I just have no idea. I'm just thinking in my mind, I want to be a startup founder. I've had this dream and I want to make it happen. But like, why is this happening? So because I literally had nothing else to do and the only thing that I could do was surrender, I decided, all right, you know what? I'm just going to write in my journal. So I start writing in my journal all the things that I'm going to experience. I say that I'm going to be in my own space where I have my own room, a warm shower, a nice meal. And then, I kid you not, maybe like 5 to 10 minutes into writing this, I get a message on Facebook Messenger where someone says, hey, where are you? I'm by the Embarcadero. My husband and I would love to host you tonight. And what did I end up going to? I went to a place where I had my own bedroom. I had a warm meal that night. And I also took a warm shower. Okay. I literally manifested all that shit. And I say this story because it's just proof that you really do have to trust the plan and release the grip. And it's so funny because this person who ended up reaching out to me, I think maybe days before I had reached out to her, and she never said anything like getting back to me or anything like that. So like, I went out on blind faith that something was going to happen, something was going to manifest for me, but I had no idea what it was. Okay. Like, I literally had zero clue. And even once I got to San Francisco, I still had like no money, but because I was on faith and because I just knew that everything was going to work out, that's literally what happened. And I think within like a week, 2 weeks, I had manifested myself a job. I had manifested myself $5,000. Like, dude, this shit's really crazy. And like, sure, it didn't even end up working out in the long run because I kind of realized that like, I'm not really supposed to be a startup founder. Like, it was a dream that I had at one point, but it just really wasn't for me. I still learned so much about what it means to really have faith, what it means to really trust that things are working together for your good. And a lot of times when things look the bleakest, that's actually when things are coming together for you the most. Like, I actually stand by that because I've experienced it in my life. And I think I like to tell this story because I think it helps me to keep the faith and to remember that it's always darkest before the dawn. Like, it always is. It always looks the most bleak. It always looks like there is never going to be a sunrise ever again. But right when it is the darkest, that's when the sun starts to rise. And you have to apply that to your life, okay? You have to trust in the unfolding of your path. And as I was looking through my TikTok today and I'm seeing, oh my gosh, I have been in the content creation game for literally so long, okay? It's been since 2020. Like, 2020 was the first time that I ever posted a piece of content. And that was when I was, I guess, going through an interesting time in my life because it was 2020 and obviously like the world was shut down. None of us knew what was going on. It was supposed to be 2 weeks to stop the spread, but it ended up being like multiple months. And I just felt like, you know what? Let me just post something online. I never had done it before, but I decided to post a YouTube video. And I remember being so foreign to the camera, so foreign to the fact that I had this camera that was looking at me and I was not natural in front of it. Like, that's the thing with when you start content creation. Like, it feels so alien because you're like, what the fuck is this? Like, who the fuck do I think I am filming myself? Like, who even wants to hear what I have to say? This is so embarrassing. This is so cringe. And of course it is initially. But I think the more comfortable that you become with the camera, in front of the camera, as well as more importantly, with yourself, that's when the real you starts to really emerge and you can actually show yourself on camera. And it was just so cool to look back at some of my old TikTok videos and be like, damn, like I've become a natural in front of the camera. Like it just feels like so me. It doesn't feel like I'm performing anymore. It feels like I'm being, and then there's a camera there. And I think that's the key to content creation. If it feels too forced, if it feels like you're trying to be something as opposed to just being you, then the audience feels it, okay? And I've actually had other podcasts before this one, but I think the reason why I resonate with this current iteration of a podcast is because it feels the most like me, and I'm not trying to be anything. I think with some of my other podcasts, I was almost trying to be too preachy, or I was trying to be so buttoned up and come off a certain way, but it's like, dude, who gives a fuck? Honestly, who cares? People are either gonna like you or they won't, and it's actually more ideal if people either love you or hate you, because it means that you inspire such strong reactions in people, and that's how you know you're iconic, babe. Like, you want to be iconic. You don't want to be some little fence sitter people are indifferent about. You want people to have a strong opinion about you. And I think that's why I love the name of this podcast, The Bitchy Hour, because I think anybody who would hear the name of that podcast would be like, whoa, like that's crazy. People are either going to love the title or they're going to hate the title. And I love that. I love that for me, because one thing I know about content creation, you have to inspire the hell out of people's emotions in order to really make an impact. It's just the name of the game, right? I think about myself when it comes to, and I think about myself a lot, obviously. I mean, I'm talking about myself a lot, let's be real. But when I think about the content that I really resonate with, it's usually content that inspires emotion out of me, whether it's good or bad. And I think this is why sometimes content and watching content all day, every day can really not be great for your mental health, because it's like there's people that you're allowing into your field to constantly trigger you into having a reaction that results in a like, a comment, a follow. And I think once you kind of realize that that's what's going on, you can feel kind of better about that, because then you're like, oh, okay, like I'm choosing to like interact with this person, with this post, because of a feeling that I'm having inside. And I can also choose not to do that. And I think that's what triggering is ultimately. Like, I think so many posts on social media are rage bait, let's be honest here, or they are just very triggering, okay? Because people will present the information in a way that sparks controversy. And I think this is why some of the most hated people on the internet are the most triggering people, because they don't really give a fuck. They know that as long as they can trigger you, they will have a constant stream of money in their accounts. And it's kind of fucked when you think about it, but like everybody's being manipulated in a sense. And it's like, what side of it would you like to be on? That's a question you have to ask for yourself, okay? I want to be on the side of it where I know that all my needs are met and I'm not purposefully doing anything to hurt anyone, just like you shouldn't purposefully do anything to hurt anyone. But you can be aware of how your actions are likely going to be received and position yourself in a way that benefits from it. You know what I mean? Like, I know that sounds crazy, but it honestly is the truth. And if you think other people aren't moving this way with you, you're just wrong, okay? Like, so many people like to act as if, oh my gosh, like I'm not manipulative, I'm not doing this. Those are the most manipulative fucking people on this damn earth. I stand by that, okay? Like, I remember the person who is the nicest and who wants to be perceived as this goody two-shoes, oh my gosh, I'll help you with anything, da 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 da. Those bitches, those fucking people, bro, the worst people on earth, I swear to you, because everything they do is to be perceived in a specific way, and that's highly manipulative. Like, I think I'm doing a great thing because I don't care if you like me. Yeah, I might say something so off the cuff, but at least after me saying something so off the cuff, I will know you either love me or hate me, and I can move on with my life. And guess what? The biggest gag with that is I also don't really care if you love or hate me. I'm going to continue to do me. I'm going to continue to live my life just like you should continue to live your life. Literally, like, you should continue to live your life. You should stop caring what people think about you, because I promise you, people are thinking about themselves. They're not thinking about you. And that should be the best thing that you've heard all day, because that means you can live your life and people don't care. The people who care about you living your best life are the people who are not living their best lives, and they feel triggered by your existence. Trigger away, babe. Trigger away. Okay? So, yeah, I just feel really great to be surrendering. And I just had a moment earlier today where I was like, oh, yeah, okay, I see that this is an issue. I see that my reality is trying to get my attention about this thing, but I also kind of don't care. I also feel like it'll work out somehow, just like things that looked dire, desolate, worked out somehow. So I might as well lean back, chill the fuck out, and do what I want to do, as opposed to feeling like I need to do something in order to manipulate my reality into being a specific way, when I can literally just believe that it's already working out like that and go about my day with the faith that everything has already worked out for me. And I feel like that's so much better. And for me to be in this place in my life right now, it just shows me how much I've truly overcome when it comes to my life, when it comes to my beliefs, and how I really have transcended fear in so many ways. I mean, I think there's obviously some things that I still probably need to get to the root of. Like, I've made a few songs before, and it's so funny because I had a family friend who said to me yesterday or the day before that, oh, you know, I really like your music, like, if that's really your dream, like, you should never stop doing it. And I was listening to some of my songs as I was on my walk earlier today, and I was like, you know what? I like some of these songs and it's fun, but I also don't necessarily know, and I can't really quantify or qualify how I would want music to fit into my life, because I am a manifesting generator. And I think I'm only mentioning that because I remember seeing something where it said that manifesting generators have a lot of passions, they have a lot of interests, and sometimes they're super into this one thing, other times they let it go, and they could let it go for years. And I think when it comes to my music, every time I revisit it, there are certain songs that I obviously love more so than others, and I would say it's especially my newer songs, just because they were better produced. Like, I was getting into my bag when it came to getting better at music production, and I'm just like, yeah, like, that was fun. That was a cool era that I had in my life. But do I necessarily want to tour and, like, really have my main focus be on music? Or do I want to allow it to come back up when it feels aligned? And I think it's definitely the latter. Like, I don't want to force anything to fit. And I think that is what comes with really releasing the grip on your life, because if you're trying to make fetch happen and fetch isn't just originally catching on, then it feels icky, meaning the energy. And it's probably not the right time for you to be focused on that. When I think about the things that feel really aligned in my life, well, obviously I would say this podcast feels really aligned. And it's funny because yesterday I was thinking about recording an episode because I knew I was going to post it on Monday, because my days for posting are Mondays and Thursdays, but I couldn't get myself to want to record an episode yesterday. And like I'm saying right now, I don't want to force anything. You should not force anything. So if it doesn't feel like right now is a time for me to do it, right now isn't the time for me to do it. Okay? Right now isn't the time for you to do it. Stop forcing yourself to do things. Things that are supposed to happen will happen in their divine timing without you having to shame and guilt yourself into doing it, because it's who you are. And again, I think that's a major lesson that I'm learning here, is that things always get done when they're supposed to, and you should always follow your divine inspiration as to when you should do that thing, because it will always come out better. And I think especially this podcast being a stream of consciousness, it feels better when something is a stream of consciousness versus when it feels like it's super planned, super, by the book, methodical. And I'm the type of person whereby I genuinely don't know what's going on a daily basis. Like, I have no idea. Like, I wish I could be calculated in a sense, but I'm literally not. Every time I think I'm calculating something, damn, I am humbled real quick, because immediately something will happen which shifts all of my plans. I'm like, holy fuck, okay, I guess that's not the vibe for me anymore, which is fine, by the way. I don't really care. I don't have any real feelings about it. I think the more important aspect of all of this is that I'm not calculated because I'm constantly following my intuition, and my intuition leads me down paths that I could have never really fathomed before. And it could happen in the blink of an eye after I tell someone, oh, my dream is to do this. And then it changes immediately. You know what I mean? Like, it's just kind of a crazy place to be in. And I think that is what authenticity is, when you can't predict something because it's ever changing. There's always something new that you're discovering about yourself that informs a new thing that you want to do, a new way of being that you want to embody. Like, it's just crazy. Okay. So this kind of ties into a little bit of what it means to truly have aligned action. And going back to what I said about me creating this podcast and me really enjoying this podcast, but it's more of a stream of consciousness. I knew that I was going to record a podcast. I knew that I was going to make some TikToks today. I didn't know when. I didn't know what the topics were going to be about. I didn't know any of this. I just knew because on a subconscious level, I know that that is a part of my identity. I'm the type of person who makes TikToks. I'm the type of person who's consistently making TikToks and who's consistently posting content. So at some point during the day, my actions are going to align to that identity that I say that I am. All right. Now walk with me here, because whatever you in your being believe to be true about yourself, your actions will align with that identity, which will support the manifestation of the desired reality that you say you want, because it aligns with the identity because it aligns with the identity that state of being has. I think I might be saying that wrong, but essentially, if you believe yourself to be a content creator, you can't stop yourself from making content. If you believe yourself to be a fitness instructor, you cannot stop yourself from doing that. You know what I mean? If you align with yourself being a teacher, you are going to put in that work every day that proves to you that that is the case for you. And that's really all I'm saying. Like, aligned action is always going to support your manifestation because it's based on an identity that you wholeheartedly align with. And I think this adds to the trusting the plan, because I think so often we want to know everything. But if you know your identity and you know that all of your actions spring from that identity, you actually don't need to know all that other information because it's just going to happen naturally. Like, you're not going to have to think about it. I don't think about waking up and using the bathroom, just like you don't. You do it because it's innate. You know when you have to pee, you're going to go pee, okay? And that's how it becomes when you have a certain identity that has a proclivity to do certain things. It's just going to happen. Like, you're not going to have to think about it. And it's so interesting because when you interview or when you hear interviews of some of these very successful people and the interviewers ask them, like, how did you get there? Like, how did you do it? And they're like, oh, well, I just did this and I just kept doing it every day. And it's like, some people can't fathom, like, how are they able to do this every day? It's because they embodied that identity. They had no other choice but to do that thing, you know? So, yeah, I just think it's interesting. And overall, you have to really focus on the fact that everything is unfolding in the way it's supposed to. If you trust that the identity that you're currently embodying is the identity that aligns with the desired reality and the person that gets to have the things that you want in that desired reality. And if that's not the case, well, that's a whole other thing. And you have to start convincing yourself that you're basically a different person so that you'll have the actions of the person that you desire to be. So, yeah. But I kind of want to get into the TBH rant because I think this kind of aligns a little bit about what I'm talking about when it comes to trusting the plan and releasing the grip. So I have been watching Love Island, and I've spoken about this in the last episode, but one of the couples who I think perfectly embodies this topic is Nick Olandria, okay? So Nick and Olandria have had a low-key thing for each other throughout this season, and this is evidenced by the fact that they've picked each other in challenges, and they've just been close friends. So now Sierra's gone out of the villa, which, by the way, I'm super happy about. And I also really want to talk about the fact that the energy was so light in this past episode. Like, it was actually insane to me how different the energy was and how it felt lovey-dovey. Like, it didn't feel fake. And I think, and I'm sorry, Sierra, if you ever hear this, but I feel like Sierra's fake energy had a really bad impact on the overall vibe of the villa. And I'm just so happy that she's not there anymore because it feels loving. It feels like it's no longer calculated. People walking on eggshells, people appearing to be more mean girls when they're not. And this kind of goes into Olandria because for a second, when it was Sierra, Shelly, Olandria, I was like, man, like, I don't like them. They're all mean girls. But now, without Sierra there, I'm like, damn, I actually love Olandria again. I think she was really thrown for a loop. I think that Taylor was really leading her on. Now I can see that. And I think she's a real ass bitch. And honestly, she deserves love just as much as everyone else. Nick all of a sudden looks way more attractive standing next to Olandria. Shelly and Ace, I'm cool with them now. Like, they're great. I don't think Shelly's a mean girl. I think it was just the fact that she was friends with Sierra in the villa and she was being fake as fuck. She being Sierra was being fake as fuck to literally everyone in the villa and was encouraging bad behaviors. So now I'm like, chill with everyone in the villa. I'm so excited. And it's the Love Island that I think we've all wanted, meaning we've all wanted to see couples that are loving and not drama where it feels like we're watching Survivor. Okay, so when it comes to Nick and Olandria, the fact that Sierra's not there anymore, who was coupled up with Nick, and the fact that Clark is coupled up with Taylor and they have a genuine connection. Even Olandria said that herself. She was happy to see them. They look like they're progressing. Now it gives this chance for Nick and Olandria to explore their connection. And I've got to say, I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued because it seems like they're trusting the plan. And as crazy as it is that, you know, Obviously, production has been hearing about how online there's Nick and Andrea shippers, but they ended up being kicked out of the house, but then they coupled up with each other to stay in the house, and like they shared a passionate kiss, but then they went back to their couples, or I guess Nick went back to his couple because Alandria didn't want to be disrespectful to Sierra, but now Sierra's out of the house. So now it's like they're both single and they can actually explore it. And Alandria chose to couple up with Nick. She says they're best friends. They've always had a connection, all that. I'm so excited because this is one of those things of like, damn, like sometimes divine intervention gets things going and you just have to trust it, you know? If something or someone keeps popping up and you can't stop thinking about them, and there's all these opportunities, all these kismet things that are bringing you together, bring the opportunities together, at some point you surrender and you're like, might as well try it out. Might as well see where this is going to go. So I'm just really excited to see where this goes. And this is really a call to everyone to surrender to the flow, to trust that everything is working out for you. A lot of times even better than you'd imagined or that you could imagine. And it might show up in an unexpected way, but just because you don't expect it doesn't mean that it's not the most awesome possible thing that could happen to you in your life. But you have to surrender to the fact that you don't have to know everything and be okay with that. Just literally trust. The hardest thing to do, honestly, I think is to surrender because it requires you to truly let go and trust fall into the universe. And I believe that that is so hard because we want to control everything, because we want to know that even if we are in control of something, and we know it could turn out bad, at least we know what to expect. When you completely surrender, you have no fucking clue what's going to happen. And that is scary for people. It is. So let's get into hot girl homework, which is a focus shift practice. So what I want you to do is a practical ritual to shift your attention from what's falling apart to what you're cultivating. So this includes journal prompts as well as optional scripting techniques. So what this could look like is you essentially thinking about, okay, let me write a script where I decide or I describe my life as if it already worked out better than expected. And then what I want you to do in the morning is just to reread this daily, or not, do it in the morning and then read it throughout your day. And every time you read it, I want you to really sit with yourself and feel all the feelings that you'd feel in that experience and just see how that affects your life. Whether it's good, whether it's bad, whatever. Just think about how you really cultivating these feelings inside of you on a daily basis, what that does for you, what it does for your mood. And whether or not you want to continue with that practice, that is up to you. But that is your hot girl homework. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I know I did. And I will see you all in the next one. Bye.